So good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon's webinar on Ker Downey Botswana. I'm delighted to be joined by Fran Hird, who is the MD of Ker Downey, and will be doing the lion's share of this afternoon's presentation. She will be giving an overview of the current situation in Botswana at the moment, and then also be giving an overview of the different camps, and then focusing particularly on the Shindi renovation refurbishment that she's been working on for most of the last few months, busy in lockdown. As is always the case with our webinars, please feel free to write any questions you may have in the chat box or Q&A box in the side of your screen, and at the end of the presentation we'll answer any questions you may have. For those of you based in the UK, I'm sure you're aware of today's exciting news where we have actually had the quarantine reduced from 14 days down to 5 days as of the 15th of December, which is amazing news. So hopefully this will mean that finally we can get going with some people booking, hopefully doing last minute bookings as well. So this webinar is perfectly timed in terms of actually Fran being able to speak through exactly what's involved with actually what's happening with Botswana on the ground and giving you more of an update of the camps themselves. So without further ado, Fran, I will pass over to you, and yeah, thanks so much for joining me this afternoon and presenting to it. We've had a record 450 agents that have signed up for this afternoon, so no pressure, Fran. Just thought I'd make you nervous before you start.
Thank you so much, Anita, and thanks for organising this. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you. Thank you so much for signing up and tuning in. I see that we have people joining us from all over the world today. We've got some guests of ours that have travelled with us in the past, and then many of you are our industry partners. So thank you so much for your time. Just a few little housekeeping things. We will be providing this presentation and this recording afterwards. So if anything happens, if you have to take a phone call, if you have to duck out, or equally you'd like to share it with some of your colleagues, we'll be able to provide that for you. So this afternoon, I'm going to take you through a few different things, starting off with the current situation here in Botswana. Then I'll take you through some of our product and the camps that we own and run. And then finally, I am saving the best till last. I will be introducing you to the new Shinde Shinde Enclave. I have all of the images of the camp after we rebuilt it. So please do stay tuned to the end, definitely saving the best till last. And I will go through quite an in-depth presentation on what we've done with that property. So just to update you on the current situation here in Botswana, our borders are open. They've been open for a couple of weeks now, and we're so excited to be welcoming our guests in the next few weeks. In fact, we have bookings traveling to us. So in terms of how you get here, it's pretty easy. The requirements are quite simple. So once you arrive in Botswana, you'll be required to provide your COVID-19 negative test results. They'll do some basic screening, so they'll take
It seems like we've lost Fran, but hopefully she will reconnect. She did promise me. No, don't worry, your sound is not. Don't worry, it's not you. It's Fran. She's obviously lost connection in Botswana. She's actually streaming live from Botswana. She did say to me that all her staff had gone home, so she was the only one using the internet, so it should be okay. Normally, we find in these situations that it disconnects and then reconnects. So hopefully, looks like she's coming back. As I speak, hopefully, Fran, you're rejoining us. We all had a bit of a heart attack then, but that's okay. You're back with us. I was just saying you said you sent all your staff home so you could use the internet. But maybe it's not.
There's nobody in the office, and now I'm getting stressed because my internet just dropped. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully it won't happen again, but please bear with me. As I was saying, we did actually send all of our staff home, but we've kept them all on board. They're all still employed. They are the backbone of Ker Downey, and that's they're very important to us. So that was one of the first commitments that we made when we delve down the rabbit hole of COVID. So in the camps themselves, we have actually opened up to the domestic market, which has really given us a great opportunity to go through all the new health and safety requirements and regulations that are in place, do the training. It's all tried and tested. Our staff are feeling really confident, really enthusiastic, and just can't wait for the guests to return to the camps. And if any of you have been following on our social media, the wildlife has been amazing. We've had pretty much lion in every single camp giving birth and raising their cubs, from Danaka to Kanana, and then incredible sightings at Shindi as well. So it's been a really good time for the wildlife, and it's an exciting time of year here at the moment. We're just going into the green season, so everything's becoming lush and green and lots of new life. This weekend was the first time I saw the first baby impalas of the season, so it's always a special time in Botswana. Then moving on to something that's quite important for agents, and I, you know, this is also really important for us. This is a very, very trying time for everybody. And from a Ker Downey point of view, we really are trying to help our industry partners and be as flexible as possible. And because of this, these are the terms and conditions that we're putting in place for new bookings. We totally understand that it's going to take a collective effort to regain consumer confidence. And through these terms and conditions, we hope that we can help you guys out with that. So that was just a little bit of an intro and what's happening here in Botswana at the moment. And now I'd like to go on to talk to you about our camps. So we've been operating for over 50 years. It's a really well-established company. We are owned and run by Chobe Holdings, and we're based here in Botswana. So I'm here in Maun, hence the quite dodgy internet. Our reservations team are here, and our whole support operations department is here on the ground. So moving on to the camps, we have Shindi and Kanana, they're the private concessions. We have Akuti, which is in the Moremi Game Reserve. We have Footsteps, which is our little rustic adventure camp, which I'll go into a little bit of detail for you. And then we also have Danaka. Danaka's down in the central Kalahari. It was the newest property to our portfolio. We actually got it in 2017 and then opened in 2018. So before I get into the camps themselves, I've provided this summary. Do not worry, you don't need to read through it all now, but I will provide you with this presentation. So it's quite a good reference to go back to, or if you're pretty nifty with your laptop, then you can always take a screenshot. But this is just an overview of the properties. But as I say, I will send this presentation on to you so that you can have all the information. Moving on to our nightly rates, and it's quite unorthodox, I think, to be putting rates at, so early on in a presentation. I haven't even showed you the camps, but I actually really think that they are a unique selling point of Ker Downey. We are a 5-star brand with very high service in amazing wildlife areas, offering a lot of exclusivity, but at a more affordable, great value for money rate. So these are our nightly rates, and just keep these at the back of your mind as we go through the different properties. And then we also have our safari packages. So these are essentially a long stay rate, really pretty simple. As you can see, they start as few as 4 nights. So essentially, if you're doing 2 camps with us, it's going to fall into a package, and there's some great savings to be had using a package. Another advantage of the packages, which is probably a little bit less known, is that every single package that we sell is giving back to the community. And the way that we give back is in a monetary value as part of that safari package goes directly to Banabaletsatsi. And Banabaletsatsi is a children's center here in Maun, in Botswana. It's an incredible center, and it's looking after some of the most vulnerable, underprivileged children within the community. So the center doesn't just look after the children, it works with the families, it works with the community. It offers a range of services, from the most basic things as a hot shower to a plate of food, right the way through to counseling. And at Ker Downey, we're not just involved on a monetary basis, but also we give our own time, and we're very hands-on at the center. And we've really capitalized on this quiet time during COVID to spend more time at the center. So many of our employees will go there and engage the kids and have interactions with them and really add value to their little lives. So one of the ways that we've been doing this is a bush club, happens on a Wednesday afternoon. And initially it started with some of our guides going there and talking to the kids about the environment, about wildlife. You know, we are the gateway to the Okavango Delta, but yet very few of these children get to experience it. So we were trying to help them and really open up that window for them. It has evolved since then, and we're doing all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So now we're doing drama with them, we're doing creative writing. We've really just pulled on any of the strengths of our management here in Maun and really put a personal stamp on it and doing all sorts of different things with the children. So if you are selling one of the Ker Downey packages, it'd be really great if you can let your clients, let your guests know that they are themselves giving back to the community here in Botswana. Then moving on to the camps, I'm going to start off by showing you Kanana. I want to get you all in that safari vibe, in that safari mood. So I do actually have a little video to start with. It's less than a minute long, so enjoy. Okay, so looking at Kanana, it is a private concession in a beautiful area, really amazing land and water-based activities on offer from the area, and very, very exclusive. So we take a maximum of 16 people. We did refurbish the camp beginning of last year, and we really focused on creating a lot of really comfortable seating areas. The atmosphere in all of our properties is very down to earth, warm, friendly. We want our guests to feel at home, to feel part of the family, and very much the decor is part of that, but also to offer a luxury safari experience at the same time. So touching on a few of the unique selling points of Kanana. So as I mentioned, it is a land and water-based property. And one of the highlights is the Kanana heronry. So you can access it either by boat or mokoro. Right the way through the year, we actually have pretty decent water levels, so you're able to get out on the water. And you can get really up close and personal with the birds. It's an incredible experience. Even if you're not a keen birder, it will definitely convert you to a twitcher. And there's great variety there. And the area is a very, very important breeding site for the pink-backed pelicans. It's one of the only breeding sites in Southern Africa. And the kind of numbers of birds that are coming to this area are in their thousands. So as a guest, you can head out and really experience them building their nests, raising their young. It's quite a magical, unique experience to have at Kanana. And then we also have the Sleepout Deck. So here you can spend the night out under the stars. If you book 3 or more nights, you can book the Sleepout Deck. There's no extra charge. We also do this experience, not just for couples, but also families. So if they want to head out together and experience it, they can. And how it works is you have dinner in camp, and then after dinner, you'll head out on a night drive with your guide. You'll come across the platform, all lit up with lanterns. You'll spend the night under the stars. In the morning, you'll return to camp in time for breakfast. So some of the key points about Kanana is the exclusivity. It's a private concession in an amazing wildlife area. We have some unique activities in addition to the traditional walking safaris and game drives and night drives. We also have the heronry, and it's a very, very eco-friendly camp. So all of our properties, we're putting a lot of time and energy into converting them into be the most eco-friendly properties that we can possibly organize. Then moving on to Akuti. So I'm just going to flip back to the map so you can orientate yourself. So now we're the other side of the Delta. You've flown across Chiefs Island and you're heading into the Moremi Game Reserve, the Kakanika area. And Kakanika and the Moremi is actually the epicenter of the wildlife experience. It's world renowned for the wildlife that's on offer there. And that's why it's got the highest level of protection, being a game reserve. So from Akuti, you can head out and explore the reserve on game drives. If we have guests that are staying 3 or more nights with us, we'll often encourage them to head out on a full day trip. The area is vast and it's very beautiful. It's really diverse. You've got different terrains, which means you've got different wildlife experiences. So just to give you an example, you could be heading out on a morning game drive to Dead Tree Island and you go past hippo pools, and then you're coming to open grassland areas where you've got chances of seeing cheetah. So it is very, very diverse and very game rich. And when you're not out on the game drives, you can head out on the boats. And I personally feel that this boating experience is one of the strongest on offer in the Delta. It's incredible to go on one of the main channels, the Monachira River, to head out there by boat, to head out there for sundowners, and you can sit sipping your gin and tonic, watching the birds come into roost for the night, and there's the sun setting across the water. And in terms of accommodation, it's a slightly smaller property. So we've got 7 rooms, 2 of them are family rooms. And what's really unique and lovely about the camp is the location. So all of the rooms and the whole of the main area is directly on the edge of the channel. So you've got water views wherever you are in camp. It's also up on raised wooden walkways. So if you have any guests with mobility issues, it's really easy to get in and around the area. And I just want to touch on something that's a little bit unique to Ker Downey Botswana, and this is not just at Akuti, it's across the board at all of our properties. We have a vehicle policy where we guarantee maximum 4 on a vehicle. So we're guaranteeing everybody a window seat. Every window seat has a camera mount. So it's a bit of an inside joke here that we actually have an aisle seat open to allow for social distancing, but we really do. It has helped us. We've had this policy in place for a few years, but it really did come in handy when it came to COVID and all the requirements there. So the vehicles are really kitted out, really comfortable, great for keen photographers. You've got lots of space to keep all your stuff, your lenses, your bean bags, all those types of things. And of course, lots of creature comforts, even down to a little jar of mints. So looking at the key points of Akuti, so as I mentioned, it's in the world-renowned Moremi Game Reserve, which is often on a traveler's bucket list. Incredible wildlife, and we're offering both the game drives and the boat excursions from there. Really family-friendly camp, very accessible. All the rooms have indoor and outdoor showers as well. So if you want to have a siesta shower, freshen up, you've got the bird life around you. Then from Akuti, we're doing it a little bit differently today because normally I talk about Shindi now, but actually I'm leaving that to the end. So now we're going to jump up further up into the Delta and to the Footsteps camp. And the Footsteps camp is quite different to our other properties. This is really tailored to a guest that's a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more active, and it's also a brilliant offering for families as well. So from the Footsteps camp, we run 2 different safaris. We have Footsteps Across the Delta, which is our specialist walking safari, really aimed at adults, minimum age is 16. And then we have Young Explorers, and this is our specialist family safari. With Young Explorers, you get exclusive use of the camp. So it's just you and your family there. So what this means is we're never actually mixing families and walking guests at the same time. It's either or at the property. So this is the camp itself, very small and intimate. It's in a really beautiful location in this riverine woodland area overlooking a permanent hippo pool. We've got 3 tents. One of them is a family room. And then this is your very, very quaint main area. So you've got your dining area, you've got your own private fire, and there you can see the water. This was quite high water levels. It doesn't really drop that much. It's pretty permanent water right the way through the year. And as you can see, very much barefoot luxury. Kick off your shoes, get your toes in the sand. And the focus of Footsteps Across the Delta is walking. So you are there with a specialist walking guide, and he will take you out on morning and afternoon walks. It really is tailor-made around individual guests in camp at that time. In addition to walking, we do have a vehicle there. So you are able to do game drives. You're also able to do night drives, and then we do fishing and makora as well. Then moving on to young explorers. So I have another little video for you. I hope that they're playing okay. If not, don't fret. We do have them loaded on YouTube, so I can share them with you. But here we go. So with young explorers, the key to the success of this safari really is its flexibility and how it can be tailor-made to the individual family that's in camp at that time. Their different ages, their different interests. And with a family safari, the trick to it really is being engaging and flexible. So we learned very quickly that kids don't want to sit on a game drive vehicle, being quiet on their best behavior. That's no safari for them. So our guides are brilliant. They get the kids involved. It's very engaging. And we actually sneak a little bit of learning in there as well. They don't actually know that they're learning, but we feel that it's our responsibility to pass on this passion for conservation, wildlife, and the bush. And we hope that one day our guests that have come to young explorers as children, they remember back on those memories, and it might shape the way and the decisions that they make later on in life. We also have a family tent here as well, of course. It's a family safari, so we need to have the facilities for a family. So everybody can stay under the same roof, and then they have a shared ensuite bathroom. But if there's maybe a multi-generational trip where grandparents are traveling, or maybe older siblings, then we do obviously have the other tents that they can use. As you have the whole camp to yourself, you really do have the run of the place. So just to give you a little bit of an overview and touch on the key points of Footsteps, if you remember, it's one property, and we offer the two different safaris from there. So either the family safari or the walking safari. It is in the same location. It is semi-permanent. So what that means is at the end of the season, we do pack it away for a couple of months, and then we bring it out at the beginning of the year, but it's not a fly camp. So it is the one base that you will be at for the duration of your time there. It's within the Shindi private concession, but it has its own area that it operates within. So the only time you might bump into Shindi or Shinde Enclave guests is at the private airstrip. Otherwise, you have your own area that you do all of your activities. So now we're going to leave the Delta and we're going to head down into the central Kalahari. And we were really excited when we found this little gem and we introduced it into our portfolio. It's so lovely to be able to offer a contrast to the Okavango Delta, and the central Kalahari really is very, very different. So with the central Kalahari, very, very different terrain, different wildlife experience. So I have another little video, it's less than a minute long, but it really does highlight the differences between the Delta and then going down to the Kalahari and the types of activities that we're offering from Danaka. 1 second. Okay, there we go. So Danaka itself is located on a private conservancy. So again, you see the theme of exclusivity through all of our properties. And the camp itself is built around a permanent waterhole. We have quite a few permanent waterholes in the area. And that really means there's incredible game viewing right the way through the year. So the camp itself has different dining options. We'll often dine out under the stars. We love to do private dinners, any kind of special occasion. The staff in camp literally love to make a song and dance about it. So just let us know any of these special details, special celebrations, and we'll really join in and help you have a great time. These are the rooms. They're thatched, which helps with the harsh Kalahari climate. So it can be really quite cold in the winter and really quite warm in the summer. So the thatch really helps insulating where you're staying. We have 8 rooms here. One of them is a family room, and we take children from the age of 7 at all of our properties, and they're also able to do all of the activities as well. And then this is your beautiful ensuite bathroom. Each of them has an indoor and outdoor shower. And as I mentioned, the camp is built around a permanent waterhole, and you can actually see that waterhole from all of the showers. I did test it, you can, but don't worry, it's only the kudu that can see you when you're in the outside shower, nobody else. And then out into the conservancy itself, we have some really great structures that we can use. So this one here in front of you is the lookout deck. So we'll often head out here either at sunrise or sunset. I'm not so good at really early morning, so I do prefer to go out there for a glass of wine and G&T at the end of the day. It's such a great vantage point. You can almost see the curvature of the earth. And for those of you that have been to Botswana, you will know it is pretty much flat as a pancake. So you have incredible views from this lookout. And then we also have a sleepout deck at Kanana as well. So if you'd like to spend the night out under the stars, you can. Don't worry, we don't leave you out there all alone. You are out there with your guide. He is armed. He does have his own tent a comfortable distance away. You've got a 2-way radio, so if you need him in the night at all, he's a moment's call away. And of course, we'll always keep your tent made up for you if you do wish to head back. But it's an incredible experience. And to sit with the guests in the morning at breakfast that have spent the night out there, their eyes are huge. They're just in awe of what they've experienced. The night skies here in Botswana are absolutely incredible. We also have a really good photographic offering from Danaka. And if photographic safaris are your specialty, this is definitely a property that needs to be on your radar. So this is the underground photographic bunker. And it is literally underground. You go down, you pop up, and you're looking out over this water hole. The water's just a couple of meters in front of you, and the wildlife comes to you. You don't have to do anything but sit there and wait. And it's incredible, from clouds of quelea, amazing bird life. So right now at the moment, we've got the summer migratory birds that are arriving, down to predators. We had the pangolin safari guys down there quite recently, and they got some incredible shots of the lion down at the waterhole. We've got a really good collection of jackal. They've got quite an interesting behavior where they go and they actually catch the birds in flight, or they chase the quelea into the water. So the poor little things are saturated, and then the jackal swims in and has his little snack. So really incredible experience if you're a keen photographer and you wanted to get some great content. And you're seeing different things. So you're seeing unique species like the eland and the oryx, springbok, brown hyena. One of my favorite is the bat-head fox, super cute. You know, a lot of these things either aren't in the Delta, or you really don't see them very often in the Delta. So in terms of activities, you can do game drives, you can do night drives, you've got the various bunker, hide, lookout. We also have an educational walk with the Sand Bushmen, and I personally feel that this is one of the highlight activities at Danaka. It's incredible to go out with these guys and learn about their survival instincts and techniques. And, you know, this is information that's been passed down for generations, for hundreds, thousands of years. This is the origin of where we all come from, and it's incredible to get an insight into it. We do it a little bit differently, so it's not dramatized in any way. It really is a cultural exchange. We're not pretending that this is how the guys live. They're super proud, and they're really keen to share their knowledge and their information with the guests. And it's also really interactive, so it's great for families. You can get involved, you can taste things, you can smell things. This guy here on the left, Guma, he's actually got a wicked sense of humor. He really loves drawing comparisons between a Western culture and his own culture. And it's really nice to get an insight and really understand on a deeper level this incredible culture. And wildlife, very, very plentiful. We've got, I think, last count was about 23 resident lion in the area. It obviously fluctuates. The Kalahari lions are definitely not Delta lions. They move around a hell of a lot more. And when you see them, you can just see that. They're taller, they're slimmer, they're meaner. And it's really great to get those predator sightings. We also have quite a lot of leopard in the area as well. And interesting little fact, we've got some guys that are going down to do some filming in Danaka soon, hopefully. And they're filming, of all things, bullfrogs. It's the time of year when the bullfrogs come out. So they're heading down. There's lots of freshwater rain puddles at the moment. So really unusual sightings to be had down at Danaka. So now, getting on to the real juicy bit of my presentation, and I'm really, really excited to share this with you guys. You are the first people to be seeing this full collection of images. This project was very close to my heart and all of us here at Ker Downey, because during this really terrible time of COVID, we had this very positive thing to focus on, and it got a lot of us through the trials and tribulations, and it was, you know, real pleasure bringing everybody together to work on this project. So we actually started rebuilding Shindi at the beginning of the year before we even knew what COVID was. And obviously we were on the path to redoing it. So there was no turning back. We were fully committed. And if you're going to do it, you need to do it properly. So before I get into the actual camp itself, for those of you that are not familiar with the Shindi private concession area, it's an incredible wildlife area. It offers land and water-based activities. We've got water right the way through the year. And actually, when we built the camp, the water was a big focus point for us. So in terms of activities, when I say land and water-based, you can head out on the boats, you can go on the makurals, you can fish, you can walk, you can game drive, you can night drive. Really, everything that you can do in the Delta is on offer from Shindi. So this photo here, if you just have a little look at the top left-hand corner, you see a thicket of trees, an island with the water in front of it. That's actually where the main area of camp is built. And when we were designing the rebuild and kind of the inspiration behind the rebuild was very much, you know, this is an iconic camp. Shindi's one of the oldest properties in the Delta, and it's really well loved. So when we did the new camp, we wanted to pay homage to the old camp. And we did that in many ways. And also we wanted to offer a really luxury experience for our guests. And a big part of the redesign of the main area was also making more of those water views, which are really incredible. And to be honest, with the old camp, were pretty underutilized. So this is the new main area. As you can see, it's built in a treehouse style, lots of different levels, all up in the canopy of the trees. And we really are making more of these water views. You can even see the pool there off to the left. We've also, for those of you that are familiar with Shindi, we've also moved the jetty. You can see that's now around the corner. It's got its own little entrance area, so it's not in front of camp. So it very much is about this beautiful water view. You are on an island in the Delta. This is the view from the other side of camp. So this is the open grassland area, and half of the rooms are overlooking this side. So half of the rooms you'll have this view. The other side has a windswept papyrus reed bed view. So there's plenty of comfortable seating areas. We've got this main lounge here. We've also got a study lounge. And there's even a sunken seating area. So when you're not out on your activities, this is really a comfortable place to go and sit with a nice cold drink. There's plenty of bird life in and around camp. And the name Shindi actually comes from the little tree squirrels that you will see in and around the area. So that's a local dialect. They're called Shindi, which is tree squirrels. Then onto the dining options. So we love to mix it up. We love each day to be slightly different. So here you can dine out under the stars, have a starlit dinner. We also have covered dining with great views over the water. For those of you that are familiar with the old camp, that's in the same location as the previous dining. So all of this structure that you see here is in front of the old structure. And then again, for anniversaries, birthdays, special occasions, we have a breakaway area, a breakaway deck where we can do private dinners. And then, of course, the heart of every camp, not the bar, definitely not, the fire. So we have the fire that's overlooking the water. Really comfortable. We've got loads of space for guests. So even if we've got 16 people, once they're scattered in and amongst the different main area sections, it really does feel very small and intimate and homely. And then this is the new pool. So we moved the location. This is the new location overlooking the water. It's quite good. You've got shady bits. If you want to sit and read a book in the shade, you can. If you want to catch a bit of a tan, you can. If you want to just hang out with your friends, have a few drinks, there's also an area that you can do that as well. Then moving on to the tents. So we completely rebuilt the main area and we completely rebuilt all of the rooms. We have kept this classic traditional safari style, really comfortable. We did convert, and it was actually one of the first things we did with the whole project was to convert it to 100% solar. So you've got 24-hour electricity, you've got dumbbells and yoga mats, you've got cookies, you've got iced water, you've got chariot turn down. You really have everything that you would need in a 5-star tent. 2 fans for those October days. And a nice big deck at the front with a day bed, so you can also enjoy that during siesta time as well. So in addition to rebuilding the whole of front of house, of course, we also looked at back of house and our staff facilities as well. So they were not left out. They all got new kitchen, new laundry, new rec area, new office. So actually we looked after the staff first, they got all of their bit built, and then we carried on with the rest of front of house after that. So this image here is actually the family room. We didn't have a family room at Shindi before, but now we do. We do a lot of family safaris. It really just was a logical decision to make. So like all of our other properties, the family room has the 2 bedrooms and then the shared ensuite bathroom. So now moving into the bathroom. If you remember, I said that we really wanted to pay homage to the old camp. So actually the shower that you see there is part of the old camp. There's physically part of the old camp that got brought into the new. So it was just a little twist that we wanted to put on it. And then each bathroom has an indoor and outdoor shower as well. So just a few key points about Shindi. It's a private concession in an incredible wildlife area. The new camp has retained that very classic, luxurious, authentic safari feel. It's built in a treehouse style, really making the most of those water views in the front of camp. And also great, we haven't increased the rates. It's still the same as it was before. Just a reminder. Then moving on to Shinde Enclave. And I think Shinde Enclave sometimes gets a little bit forgotten, but it's a real gem of an offering. And I think going forward during this COVID time, it's really going to come to the forefront even more. And because people are wanting exclusivity, and Shinde Enclave is the ultimate in exclusive. So when you book Shinde Enclave, this is your main area for your little group of friends or family. Whoever you wish to travel with, that's who you'd be staying here with. And we can accommodate up to 6 people. So you get your own dining area, you have your own waiter, waitress, you have your own guide, your own vehicle. So you do everything in your little unit, and you head out, and this is the base that you come back to when you're not out on activities. So you have your own fire deck that you can sit around in the evening, really comfortable. We've tried to think of everything that a guest might need in their own area, from a water cooler to a fridge to board games to a little library. Everything's there. It's really a little mini camp. It's a camp within a camp. So it does utilize the Shindi rooms. When I say camp within a camp, it's not in addition to Shindi, it's part of Shindi. So when we book out Shinde Enclave, we'll have 6 guests being serviced from the Shinde Enclave area. Then we'll only have, if we've got full camp, we'll only have 10 guests that are up at the main camp. And with guests that are staying at Shinde Enclave, it does not mean that they are not allowed to go to the main Shindi area at all, not at all. We just reserve this for them to go back to. But if they would so wish, they can go and use the pool there. Often guests will want to go for pre-dinner drinks, and they want to meet the other people in camp and hear about their experience and where they're traveling, but they don't want to spend all their time with them. So they can then retire back to their own private area for their meals. Because it's utilizing the Shindi rooms, it means you can use whichever room configuration you want. So if you want 3 double rooms or 3 twin rooms, you can. If it's a family traveling, and we often do young explorers safaris from Shinde Enclave, then we have the family room to utilize. So just touching on that a little bit more. If you've got guests that are wanting to do the specialist family safari, but they might not quite be up for the rusticness of the footsteps camp, you can do the young explorers from Shinde Enclave. So you will get your specialist family guide. You'll do all of those activities. Remember, you've got your own vehicle anyway. You have that, you know, you have the own area for you to use with the private enclave area. So just touching on a few of the key points, a bit of a summary. So it's maximum 6 people in 3 tents. Of course, it can be less. So if there's 4 of you, or even 2 of you, if you really want the exclusivity, you can. And it's very much about the privacy and the exclusivity of it. So you have your own staff, you have your own guide, you're doing your own activities with him. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and I look forward to hearing your feedback about Shindi. If you have any questions at all, please just let me know. As I say, you're the first people to see these images. So over the coming days, I have my work cut out for me, loading it all on the website, updating the agent's kit, but it should be done by the end of the week. So you will have all of that new content. I also will be premiering our videos shortly. They are still being made, but hopefully in the next few days they will be available. So I will be putting them up on our social media pages. We've got a YouTube channel as well. So if you would like to stay in contact with us, please do follow us on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. And I think that brings us to the end of the formal presentation side of it, but I'm hoping that you've got some great questions for me. So I think we're going to hand back over to Anita, and she can put me in the hot seat.
Thanks, Fran. I always love hearing you present. I love your enthusiasm and passion for it, and it's just exactly what we need. We're in this year when, you know, so many of us haven't been able to travel out to our beloved Africa. It's just a great way of getting a little taster of it back here. But there's quite a few questions I'm just going to run through quickly now. So on Shindi, from Pierre, is Enclave still situated between main Shindi and the staff village?
Yeah, so it's on the side where you've got the wetland area, the papyrus side of camp. So it's in the same location, yeah.
And Pierre also asked, are there now 2 fire decks at Shindi?
No, so we have that main, the main fire deck that's overlooking the water. So Pierre, you were at the old camp. If you remember, the fire deck was in the arrivals area. So that whole area where the old fire deck and the old bar was, that's now purely just the arrivals area. The whole of the main area has been moved over so that it's got the views over the waterway.
A question from Biat saying, can you send a layout of Shindi and Shinde Enclave when you send a follow-up? Do you have a layout of that?
I don't, but I can put one together. That's not a problem. Yeah, I can work on it.
Like you're not going to be busy enough. That's perfect. A question from Lang, can your sleep house accommodate a family of 2 adults and 2 teenage children?
It's tight, but yeah, it's normally littlest one in the middle so they don't roll out. But yeah, absolutely. We put it kind of dorm room, beds all along. But yeah, we like to be inclusive for families. So if you've got a family that's keen for that, we can do that. Or if they're wanting their own space, then we can do it on separate nights as well.
And on the Sleepout Deck, Pierre asked, has the Sleepout Deck at Kanana been upgraded at all?
Yes, it has. I am actually waiting on new images of it. We rebuilt it now during this time. We've reconfigured it because, you know, you always learn from experience. And with the Danaka Sleepout Deck, we really saw the advantage of having everything on the one level. So if you have a nature calls in the middle of the night, then you're not having to maneuver down any stairs anywhere. So the Kanana Sleepout Deck has been rebuilt so that the toilet base and bathroom area is on the same level as the sleeping area. And I'll get you images soon.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Mira asked, what's the minimum age for children at Young Explorers?
7 years old. So across the board, our minimum age is 7. The only exception is the walking safari, Footsteps Across the Delta, and that's 16.
Okay. Arnie asks, private concessions, is off-roading possible?
Yeah, so we have a policy in our private concessions that you can off-road for prime sightings. So that's normally a predator sighting or something that's quite rare. Obviously, we are custodians of the area that we operate in. We have to operate responsibly. This is a natural environment. We are the guests there, we're the visitors there. So we have to be very, responsible for that. So we don't just off-road for no reason. We will have a good reason if we are going to off-road, but we are able to off-road.
Okay, thank you for that. And Catherine asks, how large is the Shindi concession? How many hectares?
It is 90 square kilometers. I don't know what that is in hectares. I'd have to.
That's perfect. That's accurate enough. I'm sure we can look that up. Sharon asks, how far is Enclave from main camp for exclusive use groups? So
it's within the camp. So we have the main area that's at one end of the island, and then we have the 2 rows of tents, one that's overlooking the grassland area, the other that's overlooking the wetland area, and the enclave is snug in between those. So what it means is when you are staying at the enclave, the rooms directly around you will be allocated to you. So the closest rooms to the enclave will be used. But the way that we've set it up is that we can either use to the left of you or to the right of you, depending on if you're wanting to use the family room or not. But I will put together a diagram because I think that will be quite helpful, because this is something that's a bit unique. There's not very many camps that are set up this way.
Perfect. Actually, I wanted to ask you a question about the when you're on Shinde Enclave, if it sleeps 6 people, how do you do it in terms of vehicles? Because obviously you have a 4-person policy for your vehicles. So do you tend to allocate 2 vehicles for that particular group?
So we can allocate 2 vehicles, or they can all go on the same vehicle, because the configuration of our vehicles is 2 rows of seats and there's 3 rows in each seat. So if you're a family or friends, you can all go together. Also with families, the hot seat and the seat that's often squabbled over is the one next to the guide, because then you are, your co-ranger. So it just depends what the booking's wanting, what the family's wanting. Equally, if we've got a group of really keen photographers and they're wanting to spread out, they're wanting their own row to themselves, then we can also accommodate that. We just need to know in advance so that we can cater for it.
Okay, perfect. Bia very kindly looked up 90 square kilometres is 9,000 hectares. He didn't know either. So there we go. We've all learned something.
Thank you.
And then Julie asked, what arrangements did you make for COVID? Are there hand sanitizers in the camp? Do you have to wear masks during the safari?
Okay, so yes, we have hand sanitizer everywhere. So in Botswana, it's actually law that you wear a mask. So when we go and do our grocery shopping or we go to the doctors or anything like that, you do have to wear a mask and you do sign in wherever you go. So the way that Botswana's tackled it is to do contact tracing. So essentially they want to know where you are and then they look at if you've come in contact with anybody. So they will keep registers of where you go. We do that on your behalf. We will be taking temperatures of the guests. You are required to wear a mask when you're in a public area. We have accommodated for social distancing, so we're able to spread everybody out, whether it's dining or in the lounge areas. Obviously, our vehicles, we take 4 on a vehicle, so that's already social distancing. There's the aircraft's clean before you board, and then before other guests get on, the area is cleaned for them. There's hand sanitizer in all the vehicles, in the planes, in your room. We've done the full training, and here in Botswana, we actually have to get certified by the government that we are ticking off all of these requirements, that we have all the cleaning procedures in place, and we have to get certification before we're actually allowed to open. So we've already done that. We've already been certified, so we are safe to open. I do have a document that I will share with you that goes into more detail about the policies and health and safety practices that we have in place. We were really fortunate to open up for the domestic market, so we've done all the training with our staff. We've also changed the menus, so we've done all the chef training. We no longer do any buffets, so it's all a la carte service. So yeah, it's quite involved, but I can provide a document. So, and if you have any specific questions, just let me know.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Fran. Can you just clarify, because I know you said it's law in Botswana to wear a mask, but does that, yeah. We've had a couple of questions here. Do guests have to wear masks whilst on game drives?
So yes, technically it is a public area, particularly if in a game reserve. So yeah, you would have to wear a mask, but if you are adequately social distancing away, what we have done is we have gone with the visors with a lot of our staff. Particularly the wait staff and the guides, because it is easier if they've got the visor. You can still see their face, you can still hear them properly. So we've got a combination of the masks and the visors, both are acceptable. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I think that's all the questions we've got, but as is always the case with our webinars, we will be sending you a follow-up email with a copy of the recording and all the relevant information on Ker Downey and the properties, and also the new Shindi images as well, which you've had a preview to, and we look forward to seeing the films as well when they come out. And also just a quick mention, as we as Small World Marketing are launching the Africa Hub and Botswana, this is a free to use resource which is focused particularly on destination training. So we've got destination webinars and suggested itineraries and fact sheets, and Botswana will be going live this week as part of our follow-up for Ker Downey. So this is particularly useful for people who maybe haven't South Africa before and need more of a kind of generic destination awareness building than actually specifically focusing on properties. So we'll be launching that shortly. We'll be sending a link through to you all for that. But thank you, Fran, again for your amazing presentation this afternoon and bringing a bit of Botswana sun and magic into our lives. And yeah, we'll follow up with you all shortly over the next few days with a copy of the presentation. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thanks so much. Goodbye, everybody.